The Slumber Party Massacre was directed by a woman. Oh, hi, I'm Stella, and welcome to 30 Books. And this time around, we are talking horror. Most specifically with Alexandra Helen Nicholas's 1000 Women in Horror from 1895 to 2018. It's got the iconic picture of the Bride of Frankenstein on the cover, and she was played by Elsa Lanchester. It's one of the most famous images of a woman in horror, and as the title character in James Whale's 1935 horror film Bride of Frankenstein. That's what you can get from this rather fantastic book. It is an encyclopedia of sorts. Well, what I particularly loved about this book, it's not just Hollywood actresses or English actresses. She covers quite a broad spectrum, and it's very diverse, and she talks about filmmakers, not just white filmmakers, but women of colour, not just actresses, but directors, also sound engineers or women who work in sound. And it's also got some fantastic interviews in here as well, and it's certainly broadened my scope of understanding how what part women have played in movies, rather than just being chased by a knife-wielding maniac. Helen Nicholas is an academic and a film critic, and obviously a horror buff as well. And she also looks at that trope play in, and there's a fantastic introduction where she talks about the premise or her motivation for writing this. My love for horror stems on a fundamental level from the fact that for once a woman or feminized character walking home alone at night in the dark might not be the one scared half to death, but the one doing the scaring. It's a revenge fantasy perhaps, but with the presence of male violence against women today at the level of global epidemic, I will frankly take whatever pressure release I can get. Now, what I would have liked in this book, actually, because I think I know what a horror film is, but how do you define a horror film? It's a movie that scares you, but what does that actually mean? So I think I would have liked an explanation, but having said that, I think if you come to this book, you probably maybe already know the answer to that. So who is this book for? Well, clearly I think it's for anyone who loves horror, would like to know more about women and what they're doing in horror, because there's also there's fantastic interview with a woman who started a zine called Ax Wound, and it's like this underground horror, and she started Women's Horror Month in the month of February, and she chose February because it's generally 28 days, and that's also the menstrual cycle of a woman. So that could be a horror time too, or it can be a powerful time. I do like a bit of horror. I wouldn't say I absolutely love it, but I'm not opposed to it and I like it. I don't like slasher films, and I don't like anything too weird or macabre. I'm a big fan of the haunted house. Still, this is a book I do like film, by the way. It's a book to dip in and out of. Having said that, when I got it, I kind of plunged straight into it, and the more I read, the more I wanted to read. But it's really a good book to pick up now and again, and also it really made me go and seek some more movies out. Thank God for the internet, because we can look them up. So this is 1000 Women in Horror, 1895 to 2018 by Alexandra Helen Nicholas, who is an Australian writer and academic. Now, the book was published bearmannermedia.com. I'll link it in below. It isn't an Australian publisher, but she is an Australian writer, and the book, look, I bought it on Amazon and it got here like that. The book cost me around $50. Now, let's talk royalties. What is Hella Nicholas going to get? Let's say $5. Well, what can you get for $5? I'll tell you what you could get. A packet of nuts and bolts. Anti-theft nuts and bolts, but what can you do with nuts and bolts? Well, you can build yourself your own Frankenstein, and that's 30 books of 4 this time. If you liked this book, go and check out some of my other videos, particularly the last one, Mammoth, and I'll see you next time on 30 Books.